Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Kids on Bike scenario. X marks the spot. This is our session 0 for this two-shot. My name is Tanya. I'm your game master. If everyone could go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Pan, and I will be playing Ratapold.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'll be playing Fredda.
Hi, I'm Static or Ashley, Dealer's Choice, and I will be Liv Skullcut.
And I'm Normal. I will be playing Blitz.
Okay, so we are going to go over, for mainly the audience sake, Kids on Bikes modifications that we've made for this game. And I'm just going to kind of list them off for everybody and then kind of explain what those modifications are. And then we are going to go into the world of X marks the spot. And then we've already created our characters, but we are going to just give a rundown of what our characters look like in terms of like their stats. And we're not going to talk too much about superpowers, but you can say the name of your superpower. And then we are going to just make sure that that's all solidified, that you like everything, see if you have any questions. And then we're going to get into the map of this world and then develop your crew. So to start off, few modifications that we made to Kids on Bikes for this campaign, for this short campaign. We are playing with custom superpowers. We are still using adversity tokens as is, but we're also calling them reputation tokens. And the GM, who is me, I am going to be giving extra reputation tokens for a different reason, which will be based on how they're interacting with the underbosses and the bosses of the crime syndicate that you guys all work for. And in this case, I'm going to roll either a D4, a D8, or a D12. And I have a little table that will tell me how many tokens you get based on what you did. So that's an extra. And then we are also adding something, I don't want to call it a familiar, but it's called a companion for this game. And you will all get one. You'll get the ability to summon a companion is what it's called. And we will actually do that before we get started with like the actual game. No, actually, we're going to do that in game. Yeah, that's right. We're going to do that in game. But basically, I'll ask you to roll a d12, and that will determine what interesting quirk your companion gets to have for the rest of the game. And again, I have a table for that. So basically, I'm using 2 custom tables that I've created myself, since this is a scenario that I wrote myself. And then those are pretty much the only things I've changed. We're still using the whole polyhedral dice system. We're still using brains, brawn, grit, flight and fight, and charm for our abilities. And our stats are again the same. And all of our players are playing adult character sheets. So that is a little bit about what I've changed for the Kids on Bikes campaign. Now we're going to start off with the fun stuff. So again, this is another reiteration for you guys, but for the audience, this is a mirror world, essentially, where everything is like fantastical and whimsical, but it's tied to the real world. And the real world is basically where we have humans and, real Chicago. So this basically means that there's no humans in the world we're playing in, right? You're all going to be irregular things. So either like conduits of some sort of like Christmassy or winter solstice icon, or literally a anthropomorphic or like humanoid animal. And because we're playing in 1920s Chicago, this campaign is all about mobsters and gangsters that rule the city. So that is going to include things like assassination, hits, trafficking illicit substances, vying for territory, as well as like trying to improve standing and reputation. Okay. So content warnings will of course be in the description. So for the players now, let's get into actually talking a little bit about your characters. So all of you are part of a faction. You should have all chosen a family that you are attached to, and should have also figured out what your territory that you're like loyal to is the Anise Star. But you could have come from other places, because in case you don't know, the Anise Star, which is the territory you're all a member of, used to be 5 distinct families, right? And they could have been from any other territory at some point. So you can always come from like somewhere else. But right now, technically, you are loyal to the Anise Star. But overall, all territories and all bosses and all underbosses are 100% loyal to the Red Syndicate. And the Red Syndicate is the mega crime organization that is, of course, run by the Lady in Red, aka Mrs. Claus herself. So, any questions on your character sheets, or anything that you need clarified, or anything that you want to edit and change? Because now will be the time.
Don't think so.
I had like a little bit of trouble
Yeah.
with Ratapold.
Okay.
Because I wanted him to, his superpower, I don't really know what he would use to succeed again, because he's very selfish and he doesn't really give up stuff. I also just don't know what powers it.
Okay. So I think it might help for you to like think about maybe what type of thing would like motivate you to win. So not necessarily, you don't have to necessarily think of it as giving up something, even though it is something that will be taken. But just like, what would you do to like win something? How would you push?
Like, I don't know. Like,
y'all can jump in and help think about brainstorm what might work, and y'all can talk a little bit about
like the whole Nutcracker versus the rats thing is that like they're fighting over Candyland and the ruling of Candyland. So I kind of thought maybe like candy would be a thing that he could use to push. But
candy is made of sugar, and sugar is a commodity here. So
yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'm just confused as to if like the superpower is just like an innate ability we have, or is something that like we could lose.
You can't lose it, but you have been gifted it, if that makes sense. So it's basically like not necessarily innate, because this is a world that was created at some point by somebody else or something else. So I think sugar makes sense. The family you're with is, what's your family again?
I'm Tinsel.
Right.
So
the wishes, right?
The wishes. We deal in wishes. Yeah.
Yeah. I could see you doing
so my whole thought for that whole thing was that he brokers the contracts between the magical beings who have the wishes and the gang who need the wishes to give to grant for children or whatever.
Okay. So like a deal broker.
Yeah. Like he makes up the contracts and stuff with like, the blue fairy and the, I don't know, the giving tree and stuff.
Yeah.
for their wishes in exchange for something.
Oh, okay. So it sounds like you have a bunch of stuff from other people.
Yeah.
Well, that would probably be something that could be given or taken.
So I could use wishes to push, is what you're saying? Or
Yeah. Yeah, if you're collecting, particularly if it's like for personal gain, because I think you said you're like greedy, that would
yes.
definitely be something that, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, well, I'll give you what you really, really want if you give me something you would never want to give up.
Mm-hmm.
This may come into play, it may not, but it's good to know what you guys might give up in case, I don't know, something comes up that might require that. So that's up to you guys.
No thinking at all. Very innocent GM.
But I think that's good though. I think if you're doing a really good job at your job, but it kind of sounds like even though you're doing this for the territory and like your boss, it sounds like you're taking things particularly for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm king.
Yeah. Then you probably have a different type of hoard, right? Like a treasure hoard.
Yeah. I put wealthy as one of my traits.
Yeah. That you would probably not want to give up.
Yeah.
That sounds perfect.
Cool.
Anyone else?
I do have a question about my power, just the mechanics.
Okay.
Because it says whenever you use this power, surrender a token. Is that just one of the reputation tokens?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
Yeah, and that's for all of you guys because we are using the actual superpower rules for this game. When I played the Red Bridge, I didn't use the superpower rules, even though all the characters had superpowers. That's because I created the entity of Avaria that gave you powers, and that was a whole nother thing. But in this game, we're going with the rules, which is you are supposed to like already spend something. So you're spending like an adversity token as almost like you're like, oh, okay, I want this to happen. But you could still technically like fail. So me asking you if there'd be something you would give up, that's going to be for something that's like really big.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I do have another question. One of the abilities, Quick Healing, it doesn't specify. It just says you recover very quickly and you don't suffer lasting effects. But like, how does that function in game? Is it like if you get hurt, you heal in minutes, or is it more like, oh well, instead of taking 3 weeks to heal, you heal over a couple days?
Yeah. So let's actually go over all of your character sheet abilities that you've selected yourself, mainly so that I can give you some clarification because Kids on Bikes is a very open system. You kind of create your boundaries around some of the things that you're given. So for you, what was the language again?
Oh, for Quick Healing?
Yeah.
You recover from injuries more quickly and don't suffer lasting effects from most injuries.
I'm gonna say that kind of means you don't take a let me get your character sheet.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't take a major injury as easily, which would make sense.
Yeah. This big guy.
Yeah, let's say you can recover from minor injuries quickly. So that'll be something for everybody for understanding injuries. It's like a bump on the head or, a broken arm. Those are things would be minor. And then major is something that where you're like bleeding out from an injury. So that's like a gunshot wound. Yeah, let's say you're able to recover very quickly. I would say within the round. So let's say
Nice.
you got hit at the beginning of the round. By the next round, you would be healed
Nice.
if
Okay.
they're minor.
Cool.
And then doesn't suffer lasting effects from most injuries. I mean, you take a bullet, you take a bullet. I will
But like
say,
if you break a leg, you don't have a limp kind of thing.
yeah, we could do that for like a more of like a minor to medium wound of something like that, where you're still mobile, but it might hinder you. You're healing much quicker, so
Yeah.
that would make sense. But I'm gonna say for like something that's a little bit more major, where you're still bleeding, I'm gonna say you're still going to have some sort of lasting effect. Perhaps it's not going to be as long as it would actually take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then you have tough as well. Do you want to tell everybody what that is?
Yes, tough. If you lose a combat roll, add +3 to the negative number. You still lose the roll no matter what, but could reduce your loss to a -1.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems pretty simple enough.
Yeah. And just for knowledge wise, there's not like an initiative order in Kids on Bikes. It's more of everyone kind of piles in, but I tend to ask where you are, what the order is that you're like walking into a space. So you'll kind of know that I'm figuring out like where you are in the space and who would make sense that would go first. But in general, it's kind of like everyone pop off at one moment. And so the round is literally everyone doing the same thing at the same time. Okay. And then you're skilled at hand-to-hand combat.
Yes.
Good stuff. Okay. Any other questions about your character?
Not from me. So far, so good.
Okay. Static, what are your character's abilities that you've checked?
Easygoing, which is gain 2 adversity tokens when you fail instead of 1.
Mm.
You know, cats have 9 lives, so I can afford to fail a few times. And treasure hunter, which is I can spend an adversity token to find something useful in my environment. And then I did pick skilled at pickpocketing, so I can continue to collect shiny things.
Okay. Basically a cat burglar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Don't touch my stuff.
I would never.
Lauren, which ones did you choose?
I chose intuitive. May spend 1 adversity token to ask the GM about your surroundings and NPC or the like. The GM must answer honestly. And prepared. May spend 2 adversity tokens to just happen to have 1 commonplace item with you at your GM's discretion. And then as far as like extra specialty, I picked like security detail kind of expert or security expert. So I don't know, used to like setting up security and for these families. So
Okay. That's good. And then Pan.
There, I should unmute my mic before I start. So I got lucky, which is may spend 2 adversity tokens to re-roll a stat check. And then I also picked wealthy, which had a really long description, so I didn't write it all down, but it mostly said, don't worry about money.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then I picked skilled at diplomacy because he's a broker, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
And did we describe our special things?
We're not going to describe special powers. You can, yeah. So when we do our official, when we start the session 1 when we get back from break, you can, when you introduce your character, you can say what your special ability is. I also have a really fun, cute background thing that I'll run that will actually show it. You can say it then, but we're gonna kind of keep what you can actually like do until you need to use it, essentially. And I might sprinkle a little flavor depending on like what some of your answers were to some of those questions throughout like the flashback and stuff like that. Okay, excellent. Any questions about your abilities other than the ones we just kind of discussed?
Nope.
Nope.
Not at all.
All right. It's time to do the fun thing. I've been excited about this. You guys, I kind of showed you guys already this, but I'm going to show you it. Show you the one that's been edited, because I showed you all this map, which was the original one I got made a year ago when I started writing this scenario. And then I had the artist redo it, but as a travel map for you guys. And then I also had some fun stuff added to it. So this is the world map. So it's the map of this 1927 Chicago Christmas land winter solstice thing. So there's a couple of things in this version of Chicago. So like I said, everyone is loyal to the Red Syndicate, which is like the mega corporation. And then there's 4 territories, right? And so the Red Syndicate, also known as Mrs. Claus, who runs that, she lives in this middle icon that is a huge reef called the Chimney. And so that is where she and Mr. Claus is located. And so basically they are on the border of Candy Cane and your territory. You can clearly see that your territory is on the bottom right. And each territory has 2 main places that you can go visit. And you can, and then you have enough time to visit all of the places, really, even in this 2-shot. So we're going to start with the territory that you guys are in. This is your place, this little present icon. So this is like your headquarters. Each territory has two buildings, essentially, a headquarters and then their industry like warehouse. So this is your headquarters, the gift icon. And then the big old trading hall that's on the edge of the lake, that is your industry. And so the Anise Star is big into international and national or domestic trading. They do a lot of trading of literally kind of everything and all things. They are known for delivery, right? So they might not actually produce a lot of product. Like the Candy Cane Company produces and processes like sugary things, but they still need to get those to other places. So they will all go, so all the product goes through the trading hall. So you guys are known for delivery, acceptance of parcels and things like that. As like a huge territory. What your crew does can be kind of anything that has to do with that, but also it can also intertwine in other things. We'll get to that when you guys create your crew and let me know what you actually do. And then in the reindeer territory, you'll see that they have Rudolph's place, that is the boss of that territory, and then the reindeer prison. It's not a real prison, but it is technically a prison for real reindeer, I guess. So I guess it is a prison, sort of. But these are kind of to explain that the things in this world are anthropomorphic. So if you see something real, if you see like a real rat or like a real animal, like a real chipmunk, they're not from this world. they're from the real world, right? And somehow they got here. And that's what that is. That's like real reindeer. And then candy cane territory. So you have Fatima, you have her place. Her place is a cool jazz bar. And then the candy cane sugar dispensary, that is basically a huge like warehouse where they literally process sugar, like process granulated sugar, powdered sugar, brown sugar. Like it's a huge factory. And then they also make products out of the sugar. And then they disperse that throughout the entire city. And of course, they use the trading hall to disperse that to other places. And then, of course, we have the Yule territory. That has I think I described it as like a mammoth, like black barked tree that's called the Yule tree. That's way down on the south side of the territory. And then you have Isthira, her place, which is, we won't get into what that actually looks like. If you guys actually go there, I'll explain it. But she has her own place that almost nobody goes to because she doesn't like visitors. But that's where she resides. So each territory has the place where the boss lives, but also that's the headquarters. But also that is usually the place that's like territory people only. So like people wouldn't go to the Anise Star headquarters unless you are a part of the Anise Star. Or you are an honored guest, like from the chimney, and you're like Mrs. Claus or one of her representatives. So if you're looking for a boss, or if you're looking for like all of the underlings that would be under that boss, then you would most likely want to go to their headquarters. But if you're looking for like the underboss that like runs the industry part, or any of the factory workers, or if you're looking for like lower level guards or something like that, then you're going to go to their industry headquarters, which are all on the map. Also, a note, all of the industry places are essentially each territory's main source of income. That just for your own knowledge. Okay, and that is pretty much everything about that. Yeah. So basically the scenario is going to be over like really 8 full days, but it's technically 10 days. But like you have Christmas Day, and then you have the day we're starting the scenario where you don't really get to do anything but introductions. So technically you have until from the day after that day, which is 9 days until Christmas, to like Christmas Eve, because that's when the drop off is. So you guys will have kind of like 8 full days to travel this area, to do all of the things you need to do to be able to do the work that you're supposed to do for the scenario. And then anything else? There is an option to go to places twice if you have the time. But if you don't have the time and you find out something important later down the line and you want to go back to a place, you can send your companion. So that's what they're there for. They're kind of like an email. They can be sent somewhere to like get information, give information. They can even transport like small items because they're not like large creatures. And I'll talk a little bit more about what the companions can and can't do. And I think that's it in terms of like the map. Any questions about any of the places I just talked about or the map?
No question, just comment. This is so cute.
It's really cute.
Absolutely love it. I'm so excited.
Absolutely adorable. Thank you. Good. Okay. So then, if no questions, but again, feel free to just interrupt me or say that you have a question as we continue. But a quick recap of what this game is for you guys, what the scenarios are going to be looking like. This is the first year the Anise Star has been given the honor to basically be the delivery service for this very important package that you don't know what it is. You also don't know where it is. I mean, you know now because there's a big old X on this map, but when we play the scenario, you won't know where it is. You'll have to learn it in game. And so you guys are one of the biggest territories. You have a lot of land, and you've earned that land basically by like kind of stealing land from other people. So you're not that well liked. So this change of hands of the Anise Star getting the honor, which this is the huge honor to be able to do this, is it might be causing a touch of turmoil in the other territories, which you will need to traverse, obviously. So just to recap, the reindeer crew are kind of known as backstabbers. So they don't really like anyone, but they're very opportunistic. So if they see an opportunity, they'll usually take it. They have a lot of ambition, and I'll kind of leave that there, but they're not really liking the fact that they're pretty much the smallest territory. The Candy Cane Company used to be the largest territory, and they used to hold this honor. They've held it for a long time. I think I said like 200 years or something like that. So they're not particularly happy that you now have it. They also don't know why you now have it. They just assume it's because you've gotten bigger, I guess. But they've done a really great job every season, and this happens every year. So they're a little peeved about that. And then the old territory doesn't really care for anyone. Their borders are closed. Asphira doesn't talk to anyone or let anyone on her land. So you can imagine it's going to be super unfortunate that this year that's where the pickup is, because you're going to have to get there somehow. So that is kind of like the rundown on what the scenario is all about and what you're actually going to be doing. Any questions on those? And then also, this is a great time for you to ask questions about the different territories, the different bosses and stuff like that.
Did I miss what is the actual pickup?
You don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't know what the pickup is. You just know that it's necessary to pick up every year on Christmas Eve and to deliver it by Christmas Day.
Where do we need to deliver it to?
I'll explain this in the scenario, but you will deliver it to the chimney because that's where it goes. Yeah.
I had a question. So have we all worked together before? Like we are a crew of the different families?
Yes. So
Okay.
You guys are a crew that has worked together before. What your relationship is like, I'm going to leave that up to you as we do the creation questions.
Okay.
But in general, yeah, you guys have worked together. The Anise Star territory is humongous. That means they have a lot of people. So you will run up against people that you've never seen before, and they don't know who you are, even though you're a well-known crew, if that makes sense.
All right.
Any other questions from anybody?
Where is the chimney? Oh, never mind. It's the wreath. I figured it.
The chimney is the wreath in the middle there.
Got it.
Yeah. Looking for an actual chimney.
I know.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
That's the gag. As we play, you guys will kind of learn as you kind of like get in, meet people and go to different places. You'll learn a little bit more about the territories, but this is a good starting point for you to kind of know like your relationship with those other places and people. So there's no other questions. I think we can get right into the creation questions that I put into Discord, but I have them here as well. And so as I'm kind of asking these questions and you guys are discussing and answering them, I'll be writing them down so that I have them. And then you feel free to ask questions, like clarifying questions or things like that, if you need to know something to kind of help answer the question. So, first question. What is the Anise Star's headquarters named? and kind of try to imply what they do. So, good example is it doesn't say that Rudolph Venison's place is a butchery, but it is, and Fatima Candy's place is a jazz club. They're not in the names that are on here, but when you get into the game, they'll have names. So, like, what do you think the headquarters would be called?
Are we gonna go for like speakeasy vibes or
They have a speakeasy inside of it. If it helps, it looks like a well. So the icons are real, by the way. The building is shaped like a present and is wrapped with wrapping paper.
Love it.
Cool.
Yep.
Amazing.
Because they're known for goods, right? They're known for trading goods. They're known for delivering goods. They are the goods people.
That's a good name.
Quite like that. White Elephant Good Shop. That's fun.
Yeah, I was trying to
Oh.
present.
Oh, you guys are in private chat. Oh, I didn't even look. White Elephant.
I like the white elephant because that's like the name of the gift game.
Yes.
We have a broker and a treasure hunter, which already kind of fits into the white elephant theme.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I like it.
Okay.
What is like our place? Is it like a bar, a pawn shop, a good shop?
Yeah. You guys will need to. Oh, you mean your crew, or are you talking about the Anise Star?
No. The shop, our base. Like, where do we like? Are we deciding like, is this a pawn shop? Is this?
Well, this is the name of the Anise Star.
Okay.
Not you
Got
guys.
it.
I
We'll
see.
get to yours in a second.
Oh, okay. The Anise Star.
Yeah. It sounds like we want to go with White Elephant. I will
I
put
like
that
the white
down.
elephant.
Yeah.
Do we want to do White Elephant Goods?
Yeah.
Yeah.
White Elephant Goods. So the Anise Star is made up of 5 families. Of course, you're supposed to choose which family you're from. But just let everybody know like what species you all chose. We'll start with Pan and then just go down to normal from what I can see on my screen.
So I am from the Tinsel family. We deal in wishes, and a lot of us are not like humanoid. Like we're humanoid, but more mythical beast type beings. And I am a king rat. Yep.
All right. My character is in the walnut family. They manage and breed turkeys, rabbits, mice, whatever else they need to breed, so they can provide the meats for the feasts. But my character is not necessarily part of that. Like, is part of that family, but married into it very within the last year or so.
And what are you?
Sorry, frost giant.
Amazing.
Yep.
Liv is hanging out with the Velvet Bow family for now, question mark. And she is either a or the Yule Cat. And the Velvet Bow family, if I'm remembering correctly, deals with the gold. The most important part of Christmas.
Clearly, there's a whole song about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm playing Blitz. I am from the Poinsettia family. We deal with deliveries and the processing of fairy wings.
Yes, the processing.
Processing. I forget if that's the right. Where is it? Yes, the processing of fairy wings and dust. And I am a werebear.
Yeah. Since fairies and pixies and fae and whatnot are actual real life creatures, you can kind of make that synonymous with like hitmen or like people who take care of other people and then resell their goods. But they specifically focus on fairy wings because they're really profitable.
I hunt fairies for sport.
You're not supposed to say the quiet part out loud.
Okay.
He's a werewolf. They're not subtle.
Werebear, thank you very much.
No.
What's the difference to a rat?
Ouch.
One is bigger.
Okay. So we're going to skip the what kind of superpowers do you think you have because we kind of did that privately. That's because I just thought that would be fun. But we did already do that. So the next question is how do you all know each other? And are you all biologically related or not?
That seems unlikely.
I'm pretty sure we are not.
Listen, y'all can have a lot of blended families.
Yeah.
So how do you all know each other?
Well, Fredda and Liv are both from the Yule territory. And
We
do
go way
have
back.
a history, yeah. I believe Liv. How long ago did you leave Yule though?
I've been wandering around for a while. It's tough to say I left,
I see.
but maybe a decade.
Nice.
Yeah, I think my character Fredda, like her departure is much within the last few years, but like I think after Sfera closed like the boundary and was working for her and decided to defect. So
How old is the Anise star? The family.
Well, I use the term like new and old, but really it's like ancient and like not as ancient. So like the Yule territory and the Candy Cane territories are the oldest in comparison. And the Anise Star is technically newer, like very new, like last, I don't know, like 50 years. But
Oh,
that's
good.
because the five families got together. Like it was already like something. It was something before it was the Anise Star territory. It just wasn't this huge and it wasn't the five families. So it's not so let's say before they all conglomerated together like 100 years.
Oh, okay.
But like in the last 50 years, you guys have really ramped up because you all got together and merged the five biggest families in the city.
Okay. I know Blitz came over when that merging happened and when people started joining up.
Yeah, I always been here.
Yeah, you've always been here. You're born and raised.
Born and raised. This
So
is my city.
How old is Ratapold?
I am 208.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So I think it would make sense for you guys to have met, randomly at some point, but probably coming together and becoming a crew was probably due to meeting Ratapold. Since he's been in this city for a long time.
I've been making deals here and there and all over the place. I've been making moves.
Yeah.
I go wherever the heads send me, so I assume I was just assigned to you.
Okay.
If you're as good at finding shiny things as you claim, I can see why we teamed up.
Ah, yeah, I got all the shiny things.
You said that so creepily.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think Fredda's just trying to prove loyalty to the family that she's now in. So whatever Roger Walnut the third told her to do.
Okay. I like that. Yeah. So then for
Yes.
each of you, I'd like you to name a friend, make up somebody, and kind of like what their usefulness is to you. So they don't have to be like a real friend, but I use the term friend. Yeah, so let's start with normal. We'll start at the bottom this time. Name a friend and their usefulness to you.
I have a friend named Tommy Drum who helps. He keeps his ear to the ground, and I talk to him to get information about where people might be, just to keep track of people. He helps me find people.
Love it. Now, what is Tommy's fatal flaw?
He's too loud. He's very, very, very talkative.
Why do you keep him around then?
Because he's good at what he does. People talk, he talks with them. They say too much, he hears all he needs.
Love it. Static.
I think I know a little frost sprite that we call Jack. And I'm good at taking things from people, but he's better at getting into their homes. Not that we would do that.
Of course not. And what is Jack's fatal flaw?
He can't stand the heat. Pun intended.
Ah!
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. And so why do you keep him around?
Well, I know if he's running away, then it's probably a good time for me to run away too. An early warning system.
All right. Lauren?
Let's go with like a gnome named Charlie.
Oh. We love him already. He must be protected
At all costs.
at all costs. Okay, gnome named Charlie. How is this person useful to you?
They're good at going unnoticed. He is.
Is that like a good unnoticed, like he's trying, or is he so unnoticed that even when he's trying?
It's when he's making an effort to. So.
Okay. What's his fatal flaw?
I would say let's go with sometimes he falls asleep on the job. Snoozy guy.
Oh, it's a little eepy gnome.
Aww.
And so why do you keep him around?
He's very great at testing any sort of security Fredda has set up and finding flaws.
Okay. And Norma, what was Tommy?
Pardon?
What was Tommy?
Oh, he's a little elf.
And then what's Jack?
He's a frost sprite.
Okay, Pan.
Yeah, I got a friend named Drosselmeyer. He's a magic man.
He's a what?
A magic man. He
He's
makes wishes.
He's a magic man.
Yeah.
What
Is
does
he
this
like-
magic man look
like
like?
a fairy? Or...
No, like a magician. He's got a cape, got a top hat, he dances around.
Is he human?
He's a
What-
time lord.
Supposedly he's human.
The only human in the world, and he's a magician.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right. We're gonna do Magic Man, and we'll we'll see what that is. How is he useful to you?
He knows all the other magic people, the wish makers. He gets
Okay.
me connected.
This is starting to sound more and more like Ratapold's imaginary friend.
Well, in the real world, I'm his imaginary friend, so.
Oh no.
That is what that sounds like. What's his fatal flaw?
He's not real.
He's real flashy. He likes to stir up drama.
All right. Why do you keep him around?
He can make wishes.
Okay.
I'm a greedy person.
He can make wishes. Oh, love that. Excellent. Okay. So the Anise Star is technically equal to all the other families in terms of favoritism to the Lady in Red and the Chimney. But the 5 families within the Anise Star still have their own turmoil, right? They are still kind of constantly vying for power, even though each 5 of them are supposed to have 1 seat. But you know, there's some drama happening. So the different crews that are within the different areas in the Anise Star all have their different reputation. So what is so now we're going to get into talking about your crew. So what's your crew's like reputation, and what do you guys do? What are you known for?
The 4 of us in particular, you mean?
Yeah.
Sounds like hoarding wealth and punching people.
Finding
Yeah.
things that need to be found.
And
Also-
making sure we keep them.
We're the prison guards. We take you in and we hold you.
Also maybe arson.
Maybe. Okay.
Not out of the deal.
Do you think you have a positive reputation? A negative reputation? Neutral?
Well, we have acquired a lot of wealth. I think that's pretty positive, don't you?
And you share that wealth?
We have kidnapped a lot of people.
Very, very results oriented, not necessarily in style.
Okay. Well,
I firmly believe that everyone loves me, so
I kidnapped a lot of people. Maybe arson. Okay, we'll put you at a medium reputation.
Hey, we always give them back for, a price.
I mean, that's part of the job.
Yeah.
Okay. So why do you guys think you earned this privilege this year? Not just the Anise Star, because I think the assumption is that the Anise Star got it because they are the biggest territory now. And of course they kind of are the corner of the markets, like all the markets. They are the distribution centers. And so for a whole territory that's known for delivery, of course they're going to get this job. But why did you your crew earn this?
I mean, I wonder if it goes back to two of us being from Yule and like having to go there to get whatever the thing is.
They
Okay.
got connections.
We're also
Interesting.
good at keeping things. So,
But like we also have a decent reputation, plus we have that connection.
You're correct. You all have very specific connections, either to other territories, particularly the Yule territory, or in terms of like Ratapold, just the city of Chicago, probably being one of the oldest people who has lived here and really seen the changes of the city. Interesting.
I've been around.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day. I really just stole his age from when the Nutcracker was published.
Okay. Perfect.
Wait, how old are the other characters?
That's none of your business.
It's very impolite to ask.
What are you guys' this can either be individual or as a group, but like what's your overall opinion of the lady in red, the chimney, like basically the hierarchy of the Red Syndicate, the fact that you are loyal to the Red Syndicate and the Red Syndicate is technically the high boss here.
Yeah, well, inheritance is a thing that could happen along the line, Bosses die. I don't know how, but
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm seeing some ambition here for the throne, so to speak.
I am a king. What can I say?
What about everybody else?
I think I speak for all house cats when I say I just want to be kept by a powerful woman. So
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Accurate.
What about Normal and Lauren? Do you guys have specific opinions?
She lets me do what I'm supposed to do. She doesn't stop it, so it's all good.
Okay.
I think Fredda has like a good opinion of Mrs. C.
Wow, you're Mrs. C. You guys are like on a very informal basis.
Whoa.
Yeah, well, she came to my wedding, so and blessed it.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm seeing a bit of a spectrum here of like loyalty / like, yeah, they're okay / I mean, if they were to die tomorrow, I would want their crown. Interesting. Love that. Okay. So what is your opinion on humans? So again, this is a world where you're technically a mirror, and I'll really like explain that a little bit better when I get to like the introduction of the session. But like, if humans do exist, they exist, obviously, because we think one is here as like some sort of magician. But also there's a very strict divide. So like humans are in this what's called I don't know if I'm gonna call it the real world, but they're in a whole different like pocket dimension that is supposed to be very separate than yours. And so the only time you would ever really come in contact with a human is if somehow something from that place got here or you got there, and none of you have ever been there. Not even Ratapold, although you all heard strange stories and nightmarish, tales of what, the human world looks like. Like, it's... So what are your opinions of humans? What do you think they are? What do you think they do? What do you think their usefulness is? I mean, clearly you're all making all these industries kind of for yourself, but also they're mostly exported. And you know that a lot of stuff goes to that world.
How often do we get humans here in Chicago?
I mean, they're running around acting like magicians, I guess, more often than you'd think. But it's very rare.
Hey, he's a magic man.
It's very rare. I would say probably if Ratapold is like the oldest here, he may have, I mean, other than the one he already knows, he may have seen like 2, 3 in his like time.
So like a delicacy.
Ugh, I guess that's an interesting word.
I mean, I agree. I think they sound delicious.
You know, if they got something to contribute, I'm not opposed. Not opposed.
They sound delicious. Okay.
Don't put humans in our way; it won't go well.
Yeah. They sound really really puny and small to Fredda.
Okay.
I think she's probably about like 7 feet tall. Like,
Oof.
Okay. So not okay. So puny, small, could have some treasures on them. Essentially, not a threat in terms of what you've heard about them, and possibly edible is what I'm hearing.
Then
Yeah,
they're
you
like a
never know.
snack.
Okay.
Haven't had the opportunity to try one yet.
I
And-
feel like
and
they
not very
get their
magical.
clothes dirty.
yeah.
Yeah, no, not magical, right? They don't have magic. They don't have actual magic.
Other than the magic man, whoever he is.
Guys, have
He
you
just
not
comes
watched the
and
Nutcracker?
goes.
Has nobody watched the Nutcracker?
Does the-
He's the uncle that makes all the magic happen.
yeah, but does he have a name?
That's
His name's Drosselmeyer.
Oh, so that's your. Oh, I see. So he's. Huh. Okay. Good to know. Okay. I have thoughts. Okay. So then that's all of the questions. Actually, no, that's not. Rude. Okay. Oh, that was the last question for a reason. Okay. So next question is, do any of you have personal aspirations? So by the end of, or not necessarily end of this campaign, because this could always come back in the future, but like your characters, do you guys have some sort of like goal or ambition?
I think I stated it pretty clearly a little earlier.
Yes, Ratapold. We know about you.
Crown on my head. That's it. I got it.
Love it.
I'm just looking to live the luxurious life that I deserve.
Okay. Normal and Lauren?
I have simple bear with simple needs. I do not need much.
Man, I'm not gonna have to pay this crew very much. That's awesome.
Really? Well, what do you
I'll take their chair.
what would you want?
To hunt.
Okay.
It's vague, but that's the purpose.
Okay.
All we need to do is get him a Where's Waldo book and he'll be happy.
Give me a
Oh,
no.
yes.
Well, that's too easy. He's always right there.
He's always right there.
This is a master at Where's Waldo. Lauren, did you say something?
No. So like motivations, aspirations, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I put on the character sheet like acceptance. I think that's both like within the family and just like I don't know, just feeling like she belongs.
Good. All right. Final question. What does a day in the life look like for your crew? So that's kind of asking like what your crew would be doing, and this will help me to do the flashback in the scenario. But like, what would you guys be doing on a regular day? So like, where would you be? Where would your headquarters be or be called, or like, what would it be? And what would you guys be actually doing on like, a Friday night or something, or doing work?
As a group or individually?
You can say individually what you think you'd be doing, and then I need to know, like, as a crew, where you guys would be and what you would be doing together. When you're working, by the way. Like,
Well,
what do you guys do?
a lot of my work involves talking to people over good wine and, contracts. So,
Okay. So you need a place that allows for that, maybe a back office of some type.
yeah.
That he definitely calls the palace.
Yeah. It's got velvet furniture.
Of course it does. Love it. Okay. So you need a place. So when you're working the people. You're getting the contracts done. What's everybody else doing?
I also work the people. Although it's more
That's true.
you should say, if there is a contract that needs to be met, I will make sure that the contract is met. So I spend a lot of time out in the field, just going from neighborhood to neighborhood, making things are progressing as they should be. And when I'm not, I'm usually either providing additional both security or working out and keeping up my appetite.
I think that makes sense. Yeah, out in the field. Actually, perhaps any contracts that were overdue or payment was not rendered.
The rat needs his money.
The rat needs his money. Wow. Yeah.
I
That's the
do.
tagline.
I need it.
Like it. Okay.
The bear understands.
I take naps by the fire, and then I go get things that people want or things that I want. And then I come back and take naps on the sofa. And then I find more things that people want. Then I come back and take like a nap on top of the fridge. And then maybe I look and see where the rat keeps extra shinies that he might not realize are missing. And then I take another nap in front of the fire.
Yep. And that leaves you, Lauren.
Okay. I think Fredda probably is kind of a workaholic with like trying to make sure everything's secure that needs to be secure, like constantly going over like inventories and making sure they match, and just like, I don't know, maybe just has like a pile of like paperwork on top of like going out and like checking things, and having people that report back to her. So works a lot of nights because that's when people like to steal things when it's dark. So
Excellent. I like it. You guys are always taking care of business, it sounds like. And it also sounds like you're always taking care of your place, whatever that looks like. It sounds to me like it's a pretty, very comfortable, multiple napping spots, but also a place where you can like do deals. Probably there's a little bit of music. There's a little bit of a lively atmosphere for people feel comfortable to come in and chat with you all, while Blitz is out doing his job and Fredda is in doing her job. Love that. I think your crew is shaping up. Okay, well, before we take a break and then come back, are there any questions about anything we've talked about today? We went through a lot, but any questions or clarifications? And again, throughout, you can still ask questions, but if you have any right now, you can ask those. And if not, then we're going to take a break. What time is it? We started at 3 my time. So let's take a 15.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's 50 now. Perfect. So let's take a 15, come back 5 after the hour, and we will hop into the first part or the first part of this scenario. And then we'll end up for the night after the time is up. I think we have, 2 more hours or 1.5 hours. And then I'll see you guys again next Friday. So let's take a 15. So I'll see you guys back in 15.
Okie dokie.